Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So we're talking about the Bitcoin and crypto crash. I got some things I want to show you and share with you. I honestly think it could get a heck of a lot worse. I know it looks ugly now, but I mean, we're looking really ugly coming soon. Also too, if you're new here, my name is Chris, professor for about 10 years, and this is all to help you grow your account and grow your mind. So let me show you this. This is the price of Bitcoin. It's about 20,003. I believe it hit 17.5 just a couple days ago, and that was kind of a temporary bottom. So we'll see if we stabilize this. The thing with Bitcoin is it's 24/7 and doesn't sleep, and it can rise or fall at any moment. Oftentimes you have these crazy moves on weekends. I think because regular markets are closed here in USA, and people are like, hey, it's Bitcoin time, but we'll see where this goes. The reason why I think it's going to be more scary, and I know this is a bit of old news, but the whole Celsius scare, basically, we don't know. Celsius was a crypto network. They froze all their assets on there so people can't do anything. When you look at the actual language of their site, and I was just looking at it, and it's really scary language. It says here, due to extreme market conditions, today we are announcing that Celsius is pausing all withdrawals, swap, and transfer between accounts. Basically, you're pretty much screwed if your money's in this thing. Not cool, Celsius. And if I had money in this thing and my money was frozen, I would be just really worried. And perfectly frank, I don't really know Celsius. I don't remember it being advertised. I don't remember seeing any videos on it, any news on it. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on this one, if this was a major one, and if you felt like it was plastered everywhere. I knew about Coinbase, I knew about Robinhood, but I didn't know about Celsius, and I knew about Binance too. But like I said, I didn't know Celsius. And the reason why I bring this up is there was an article today in Yahoo, and I want to just go over a couple of the lines from it. Basically, if you look at the headline here, I trusted them with my savings. Crypto investors scramble after accounts frozen. They interviewed a couple people who have money on this thing, and this is going to be the bubble pop. It's kind of the big, what do you want to call it, the thing we all remember. And I wanted to mention also as well, and it's something I've been thinking about just recently, where there was a YouTuber. I won't say his name, but he's a very old gentleman, and it's a bit strange because if he has any experience in the markets whatsoever, he would talk about personal experience in the dot-com bubble or the 0809 crash, and it's a fraud. He's a fraud, but he never mentioned it. And I'm just saying, I lived through dot-com, I lived through 0809, I lost money on various things in these things, because if you live through these things, you'll know things can go to zero. It is a real thing, and until you've experienced it, you don't know, right? And anyone out there who's like an older person on YouTube who doesn't talk about either dot-com or 0809, don't believe anything they say, because they would know. Like, anyone knows. I'm just keeping it real with you guys, because even like friends, you'll talk about, like, say on Wall Street 0809 during the financial crisis, the housing bubble, etc. People were doing crazy stuff. So and it was the same with the dot-com. Just when you lose everything like this, it's very troubling. So that's why I just want to mention it with you, that there's a lot of kids out there that were all pumping up crypto and stuff like that, and just didn't know that there will be a day when this thing is over. And this is the sort of the pinnacle of the bubble. And like I mentioned before, I was old-fashioned thinking that's going to be a famous company going bankrupt, but in fact, it's just most likely going to be all these various cryptos. And essentially, a lot of people are going to get hurt. And sort of what triggered this for me, and I want to talk about this with you, if you read some of the more details about it, I'll just read through it with you guys. So basically, Celsius had his money, and it says here, the company liquidated 0.59 of one Bitcoin, a value of 11,008, and he now faces another margin call of 13,000. So his account's frozen, and according to this, though, he's going to lose, like, basically, what is that, like $25,000? And this is a quote from him. I tried to reach them for days. You can't remove someone's ability to resolve a situation and then punish them for not resolving it. The 46-year-old carpenter told Yahoo, I trusted them with my savings, and it's unfair. And one of the things that I think is interesting is they kind of make it sound like Celsius was sort of portraying themselves as a bank. I know BlockFi kind of did that as well, where they sort of portray themselves as a bank and really, emphasize, hey, put money here and you'll get a really good interest rate return. But, one of the things that with this crypto world, when you really dig into it, like, are they FDIC insured? What kind of protections do you have, et cetera? And this is where, crypto being essentially unregulated, people don't have protections. And I think that, I mean, this is going to be a mess when some of these companies go belly up, go bankrupt, and those people are going to basically lose everything. It's going to be a real mess. You're going to have tons of lawsuits. You're going to have a lot of these kind of stories coming out as what I'm reading with you today, and that's why I just wanted to go over it. This is going to be we're going to be in the history books, this stuff. There's another bit of pit, just read it for you guys. Northern Carolina based, and this guy, he can't access his, he's got 85 grand in Solana, Cardano, Chainlink. Been a customer since November, and this is the quote. Almost every YouTube crypto channel related was recommending Celsius, and that's why I thought it was safe. And it's really hard and depressing situation. So this is something that I've mentioned to you guys several times, and why I started doing the fraud series, because what's the right word to say? I knew it was always a problem, but it never occurred to me as like, hey, Chris, you should, tell people about this stuff and like be really, really adamant about it. I would tell people about these things, in the past, and kind of in passing, if someone asked me, hey, Chris, what do you think about X? And I would just tell me, I think it's all a scam, but I wouldn't be like, more aggressively, because, the problem, the thing is that when everyone's in crazy land, which we've been in like the last, I don't know, year or a couple of years, you feel like you're the fuddy-duddy and you're the party pooper. Like when people say, hey, Chris, what's your favorite crypto? And I'm like, I'm not really into that stuff. And they're like, oh, you're just a party pooper. You're just an old fuddy-duddy, or, these days, and I'm keeping it real. I made a video kind of making fun of this culture, but it actually makes me really, really angry. There's YouTubers out there that, they literally say, oh, Bill Gates is a dummy, Warren Buffett's a dummy, they're just old, they don't believe in crypto, but man, we're going to make money and we're going to keep buying that crypto. It's essentially what they're saying. And it just sounds so ludicrously stupid to talk in this way. And kind of that culture. And I guess, to be fair, right, everyone's an adult and you have a right to do what you want with your money. But I just think a lot of people who are sort of just blindly following this craziness on YouTube, and like I keep saying here, like he's saying, everyone was recommending it, thought it was safe. And it's funny too, like, this is real. You'll see comments that'll be like, Chris, you're so dumb. You only have like 15,000 subscribers. That YouTuber with, 1 million subscribers, he's saying crypto is the best. And what do you know? He's more popular than you. But this is the culture that we have to deal with. And, it's like, what do you say to that? What do you say when someone's like, well, Jake Paul recommends his NFT, and Jake Paul is like really popular, so therefore it must be really good. And it's true, right? I'm just keeping real. It's true that like all these things went up during that period. And so as a sane person, you feel like, have we all gone mad? And so for some of us, myself included, like, we just want to get back to some sanity in our markets, which we're clearly coming to now. And it's kind of funny because it's I told everyone about the crash last year and stuff like that, but I guess now it's really starting to hit home more because we're seeing, I think I'm just thinking in my head now, I think it's because we're seeing that Coinbase is firing employees. Like we're saying, oh my God, this is real. It really is happening. And I called the firing of employees of these kind of companies, a couple months ago, but it didn't actually happen until it happens, right? Like even though you're pretty sure on stuff, it's the same with anything in the market. It's like you're pretty sure on stuff, but you don't 100% know until it actually happens, and you're like, yep, yeah, I was right. And so that's one thing I always to tell everyone is like, because people always like to say, oh, Chris, you're so smart, why don't you bet me? And it's like, well, we bet every day in the market. You bet in your beliefs in the market and you see how it turns out. That's what the stock market is. It's a collection of buyers and sellers. And the other thing too is like, if you take a look at this is something that's really funny. So there's now a new ETF. This is why I think the crash could get worse and more scary. And I laugh because it depends kind of which side you're on. So if you want to short Bitcoin, the Pro shares is going to make you or give you an opportunity to actually do that. Like, for example, I wish I could have shorted not Cardano. Actually, now I wish I would have, but I wish I would have shorted, say, Dogecoin or Shiba Inu, because those are like the pinnacle of the ridiculous bubble. But I don't know how to short. I just don't. I don't know how to short Dogecoin or Shiba. If you don't, please let me know. But evidently, you can short Bitcoin now. That's going to be starting this week. Now, shorting something I do not recommend for beginners. I want to emphasize that. I do not recommend that for beginners. I do not recommend it for investors, like long-term investor people who just want to buy and hold. Shorting something is basically inherently a trade, and you have to understand the idea. And the basic idea is that you borrow something from someone, sell it, and then you're going to buy it back at a lower price and then give it back to that said person. So I'm not quite exactly sure how shorting Bitcoin will work, but I mean, essentially that's how it should work, is where you, again, you're borrowing Bitcoin to sell now, say sell at 20, and then you would buy the Bitcoin at 10 and then give that Bitcoin back to the person. But I'm not actually sure how this works, to be perfectly frank. It's fascinating that you can do it, but yeah, you can short Bitcoin now. Evidently, it's ticker. It's like BITI. I guess it's already available in Canada. That's what this looks like here. Year to date, it's up 84% roughly. These kind of ETFs, inverse ETFs, are something that you can make money on, but again, it's not for beginners. I just want to bring it up because I think having more accessible ways to short Bitcoin will create a lot more volatility because a lot more traders will be coming in and out of this. And this is sort of what I do daily is I go long, I go short, I go long, I go short. And just give you a simple example. Like I've mentioned this stuff before, like SQQQ is basically shorting the NASDAQ. And if you do that from the beginning of the year, like, you can see it's up 122%. You can do like ARK Invest, which is like shorting the ARK fund. And again, you could be doubling your money and stuff. It's so ridiculous, our market. And this is another thing that creates a lot of volatility is these abilities for retail investors to short things. So again, this is not for everyone. I'm not recommending this whatsoever. If you're not a trader, don't touch this stuff. It's too unsafe. But I just wanted to mention that shorting Bitcoin will be a thing, and we're going to see increased volatility both on the upside and on the downside because of these kind of instruments out there. So I just wanted to mention that to you guys. So that's it. I think I've already expressed my opinions. I just think the house of cards is coming down. These kind of companies are going to go belly up because in a recession, people just don't have the cash to be doing these risky assets. People evidently really did mortgage their house, sell their cars, do all this stuff to buy lots of Dogecoin and stupid crap. I mean, just being real. And it's kind of ridiculous too, where I was just talking to my wife about this, and I can show you an article. I'll just tell you it's not a big deal. I guess Elon was tweeting that he's buying more Dogecoin, and so then Dogecoin goes up like 8% yesterday. And it's like, is that even legal? And I mean, and I'm serious because crypto's not regulated, you can like basically manipulate the market in that way. And whatever Elon tweets, market responds. It's just how dumb our markets are. But I think this stuff will come to an end, and unfortunately, a lot of people are really going to get burned on this. So please be careful out there. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this stuff that we talked about here today. What you think is going to happen. Do you think, and my bigger opinion is I think you're going to have consolidation in Bitcoin, meaning like most of the stuff's going to fail and maybe a little bit will survive. And that's going to be the same with your sort of Bitcoin, what do I call it? Not Bitcoin, but crypto sort of exchanges, the websites where you buy and sell stuff. I think a lot of those will fold. And I think the other thing too is going to happen is, actually, I'm not sure what's going to happen. A lot of YouTube channels are built on whole crypto, et cetera. I actually don't know if they're just going to all fade into obscurity or what, but we'll see. This is sort of how bubbles end. When a sell-off comes, you'll know it's happening, right? And then when it happens, you wake up one day and everything will be down like 30, 40%. It'll go really fast. And that's sort of, I think that's a part that really, what's the proper word to say, surprises people. And this is something that, like I said, if you live through the dot-com bubble, the 08, 09, you'll know some things don't come back. And I just want to keep it real with you, and you guys, know what you're into if you're in this stuff. So anyway, that's my thoughts. I love to hear your thoughts as well. And thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next video.